Yeah, we're live.
My dear, my love.
Yeah, we're live after shooting tonight with our special guest, Chris DellaPorta from Woodshed Guitar Works in beautiful, historic, lovely downtown Carlisle. The producer may have just stepped into the bathroom. I don't know. I don't want to out him, but I just outed him.
You're going to hear something.
Don't forget to push the little silver handle and make it disappear.
I mean, we're professional here. Need some water. Thank you for broadcasting.
Yeah. I do like that your sink in there, like, still has the sticker on it that, like, it passes some certification, like, under the faucet. Like,
Oh, does it?
lead free or something. Good for you. So you're not going to die.
Letting the world know.
Yeah. Out in. Of course, no one knows where the beard cave is.
Should we shoot from in there, maybe? We can change the angle of the camera.
Remember the little shiny thing from Men in Black?
Yes.
We're going to have to hit you with that at the end.
So,
It's like the Bat Cave down here.
Pat Sonda talking about the bathroom, Miss Brody jumping in on the chat.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well,
Is
Brody.
it Brody?
Yeah.
Brody,
Look at this guy.
Did you introduce Chris?
I did quickly. Yeah, there's Brody. I should be looking at the comments instead of myself on the frame.
Right.
Yeah, Brody, look who we got. We got the ultimate from the woodshed. We got the woodshed himself. I still have the shedder.
The shedder. Shedding. I shed a lot.
Sometimes I shade too much.
Yes.
So we'll jump in the content. We'll stall for a couple minutes because we're a couple minutes early. This will be the post-shoot banter part, and then we'll talk about, other than our extreme admiration for Chris, why Chris is here, why he's here.
Right. Is it me or is this still extreme? It's like unusually more uncomfortable than I'm sitting here. All I can think about right now is, boy,
It's awkward.
this school's and I've been running around, so like I'm sweating and the stool's
Yeah, so if you're
hurting
listening
my
to the
butt.
live stream, Brody already has one, and Chris already has one, I think. So, but if you guys buy some shirts, we're gonna get more comfortable seats. Well, thank you from the bottom of our bottoms.
Bottoms.
Yeah.
These are the Labor Day special, ones from that big box store for like 25 bills. So they're pretty good for that
Hey,
perspective.
for $25, I'll sit on it.
You'll have scoliosis by the time the meeting's over. So,
I slip the disc.
So I see there's like 7 people in the chat. Who's out there?
who's talking?
Brody's the only one chiming in so far.
Dr. DellaPorta. You just got upped by Brody to
Dr.
DellaPorta.
DellaPorta.
Maybe the first question tonight will be like, if you're watching a show and there's an angel and a devil on someone's shoulder, which side is the angel on? Answer carefully.
I'm alright with that.
You could twist up your beard like Randall and make it like
Right.
into 2 braids.
Yeah.
That's the
Spiky.
point.
Yes.
And then Harrison could pull it like it's real. Randall, my son wasn't sure if Randall's beard was real, and he pulled it one time, and Randall let him know it was real.
I like when Randall would have a few drinks and he'd get up close to you to talk to you. His beard would like kind of get in your face.
Beard would get there first.
He's coming over. Right. Let me tell you something, friend.
Hey, so I said to the guy. Hey, we got Brian Landreth and Schaefer Brown. I believe that's a new name for me.
I know Schaefer. I think I know
there you go.
Schaefer.
That's all. This is awesome. What up, Chris?
Yeah. What's happening, man?
So, Brian, good to hear from you. Thanks to Ben Combs for, again, diverting people over here from Canada, no less.
So we got done shooting a little earlier and we're able to check out a little bit of his show.
Yeah.
Right?
So is that Canucks with guitars? Is that what he calls
That's
it?
the one,
That's
yeah.
a great name.
It is.
Great
So,
name, eh?
I guess let's get into what we were doing here. So we had Chris come over because of this beauty, right? The $139, I'm rounding up, the $139 Firefly guitar. So we did an episode on this, we did an unboxing on this, we did a shootout with the SE on this, the PRS SE soap bar, and then tonight was about we gave it to Chris for a week or two and had him
Mess with it.
yeah, just check it out. And so we shot a video tonight where he's giving his professional opinion as somebody who owns a store that's pretty much, I wouldn't say your sole purpose, but your main purpose is to fix guitars.
Absolutely.
So
You backed into having a guitar shop. You wanted to just have a repair shop.
I did.
Right.
And then, hey,
Yeah.
do you have strings? Do you have this?
Yeah.
Can you consign this? And then before you know it,
Next thing you know.
you're a guitar shop. Oh.
Yes. But I keep it to a level. So.
Anyway, back
right. So yeah, I mean so Chris is from Woodshed Guitar Works in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And so he in the video kind of rated and ranked some good qualities, bad qualities. Talked about frets, talked about tuners, talked about the nut, talked about fit and finish electronics. That ain't about covers it, right?
Yeah,
Pretty much the whole guitar. And I'm not going to tell you what his opinion was. You have to watch the video.
Okay,
it wasn't bad.
Yeah. There was only one bad score, but again, there's a Russian judge at every judging table.
Yes.
But it was a fair assessment.
And can we call it bad or just call it a little less than the other ones? Yeah.
Yeah, I think overall, though, the opinion is, like, how do they do this?
Yes. Yeah, that's the big question. How?
Like,
Well, it came with a bone nut.
Yeah.
Right? It needed some tweaking, but there was a bone nut to start.
well, and I was surprised, too, because wasn't there, like, an orange drop capacitor or something
Yes.
there?
Yeah,
like a
absolutely.
real orange drop capacitor.
Boom.
And
That's
real,
what-
like a bone nut and, like, things that you wouldn't expect to find on a guitar, maybe even at the $200 range.
This didn't come with a bone nut or orange drop capacitors. I had to put those in there. This comes with it. So that's something to think about,
Right.
you know. And my beloved,
Not that I would buy
some
this
guitar,
over
yeah.
this.
Well, you tried
Especially
to buy
for
that.
the price, yes. I've tried to buy that from him several times.
So we asked Chris to just bring something with him. So he brought the guitar that Jason
is
wanted.
the bane of his existence.
Yeah. Right. So hey, do it real quick. So we have Joe is back. So if you just do a little Hey Joe.
Hey Joe.
I always give Joe his own theme song, like I wrote it.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
I'm going to sound awful because
Now he does. Joe likes shredding though. Could you fix? Could you be Jim Fagan for a minute?
oh, I can't at all. But I can.
He likes metal.
He does like metal. So
And we don't.
Joe?
Yeah.
Joe's
this is
the
Joe,
metal guy?
Joe,
yeah.
Joe.
Joe jumps in on our show. We are the least metal guys ever, and almost every live broadcast, Joe chimes in.
I'm going to sound not metal, but that was the sloppiest metal.
That's more like tinfoil.
It's tinfoil, yes, actually.
But I promised him.
The
he doesn't
really
know-
thin stuff.
Now,
yeah.
now, Joe, I've told you that there's a friend of ours, mutual friend actually,
yes.
that is probably one of the best players in that genre.
Yes.
And
Locally.
I've kind of promised him Jim Fagan, kind of, and I had coffee with Jim. It's a whole new show, Coffee with Jim.
Coffee with
No,
Jim.
but Chris can vouch for Jim's shredditude.
Absolutely,
So,
yes, absolutely. So
let's
stay
give it-
tuned, Joe. You'll get exactly what you're asking.
that's
for.
right, and then some.
Yes.
If you, it'll leak where your brain will come right out
Yes,
your
the
ear.
Fagonius.
All right, Joe is interested in learning some blues stuff, though. Good
Okay.
for him because I'm probably not going to play any metal.
Want to listen to some really cool blues rock guitar? Check out Tyler Bryant.
Okay.
I just saw him last Friday night in Harrisburg.
Oh, that's
He
right.
was amazing.
I saw
Absolutely,
your post. You did a
Yes.
little cussing.
Yeah.
yo, Harrisburg.
Some people need to hear a few things.
Yeah,
You know?
Chris is a gigging musician, owns a music store, a gigging musician, and goes out and supports other bands. And there's a pretty cool newer venue here in Harrisburg
Yes.
that has not reached quite the capacity that people would like to see for shows. A couple maybe, but
Yeah, I mean, it's hit or miss like anything else. Can we say the name?
sure.
It's Club XL in Harrisburg. If you live in this area, look them up, follow them on social media, find their website, check their schedule. They're bringing everything in, and it's been a long time since we had a place like that in the area, and we've needed it. And I mean, Marcus King, Kicks, Tyler Bryant. I mean,
Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice. You know, hey, what was it? The other guys? Oh, geez, I can't think of them. It was one of the early rap hits for those guys. I can't think of it. But they're bringing everything through the door, basically. And it's a phenomenal place. So check it out. Support it. Please. If you don't live here, come here to support it.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
And we would have driven to see like Marcus King back in I would have back in the day, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was March when he came through. He's coming back again sometime soon.
Yeah,
so.
I need to see him.
Yeah. Everybody does.
yeah, Michonne, never mind, saying hey because if I don't, I feel like a creepy stalker. That's good. So this pan must be a little wider because Brian is commenting that he's never seen the Strat on the end before. So,
Yeah, because we had to throw
because
an
that
extra
fit me
seat.
in over here. Yeah.
Yes.
So
I don't know. Can you see the?
a lot of people saying hi to each other, which is cool. We want to start a little community, and so
Hey.
they're greeting. Hey, what's up, boo? So they're greeting each other. Brian Landreth, I'll go real quick. So yesterday we shot on a Sunday, the Lord's Day. We've asked for forgiveness, and we're good now. But because at one of the Love Pedal sales months ago, I got the Tiki Drive for the $50, right? So Brian said that he ended up buying one of the 50 Bones ones, and he got the Blackface Deluxe.
I looked at that.
So we reviewed this one. Maybe not that great at reviewing it, but it's good.
It
as
was
we
different.
Do.
It's
As good as we do. Yeah, it's a different pedal. It's an interesting pedal.
It has these 2 drives on it. So you have
Yeah.
a volume, a gain 1, and a gain 2.
Nice.
And so gain 2, you start to roll that up to get more gain. And then you can roll gain 1 up on top of that from anywhere.
Okay.
But if you roll gain 2 off, you get
it's
nothing.
like the master. Like 2's like the master. It's a little bit what you're doing here. You've got the direct drive and the amp's already pushed. It kind of does that with this pedal. But anyway.
So you got like gain 2 anywhere and then gain 1 at whatever level. And then it was anything more than 3 knobs and I get a little confused.
I think this is going to inspire the second t-shirt for the show, gain 1 and gain 2.
Yeah. You got to do that.
So that was yesterday. So yeah, Brian, we did not collectively, I know that's probably not copyright. We might be able to get away with that. Do it.
Would that be like a pedal with legs and arms on it or something?
I think call your brother. I lost my train of thought. That's not hard to do. So I think we resisted, right? Neither one of us picked up anything this last, unless you're holding.
No.
So, but that's that.
He
We
didn't
did
get
that
us.
yesterday, and I'm going to back into this one. So I thought, well, geez, maybe I'll sell something. So I put together my fake Pelican box of pedals that were in a back room, and this Red Witch Emperor's Chorus, who I purchased when Chris worked for our dear friend Randall, who we talk about all the time. I picked this up when I was there, and it just kind of wound off to the side. So we started going through these things. This is the first one we plugged in. And not only am I not selling the Empress...
And Brian said that you should keep it on the comments.
Well, Brian, I must have taken your advice, because not only is I'm keeping the Empress Chorus, I probably went and got the Pentavocal trem, because I needed another tremolo pedal. So, yeah, Red Witch is alive and well. I think I'm solely keeping the New Zealand economy.
Your economy's roaring.
But I was asking Chris, as a professional, I think is it in New Zealand, south of the equator, right, where maybe the drains drain in the opposite
I thought
direction?
that was Australia. With New Zealand, pretty much the same. Yeah.
I heard Australians and New Zealanders, if you say they're the same people, they love that.
Yeah.
But this is like a south of the equator button because the rate gets faster when you go to the left, which is backwards. So there's your useless trivia for this. So that, me deciding if I was going to keep a pedal caused me to
It'll make one call it the flush drive and make it go backwards.
Yeah.
Let's see what else over there. You keeping up? I don't know.
Not
We may have given Pat too much responsibility for this show. He might have. Might have over. If you said hello to everybody, because I really can't see.
I did. So it's Joe, Brian, Michonne, which I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that right.
Yep.
Is my wife popped in? Because I know she's
not yet.
Yes.
Butler mom might be medicated. She's had significant surgery several weeks ago.
Right. So we're 2 weeks out tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
so
then she today has a real bad back problem. I think from being in a chair for the last 2 weeks.
And Schaefer Brown, who knows Chris, so getting some new people in this conversation. But I'll try to keep up a little better. But
so yeah, what else? So we talked about the Firefly. Which I'm still just looking at it.
It's amazing.
It looks cool.
It does.
Come on.
How could you go wrong? You can't go wrong.
You could smash it at the end of the night and not feel.
you could.
You wouldn't feel awful.
It wouldn't feel awful.
No. You might not feel good, but you wouldn't feel awful.
That's right. You'd be grabbing the upgraded bridge off of it when it's laying on the ground.
Looking around on the floor.
Where's the bridge? There it is.
Yep.
I'm still blown away by that. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to keep it because this might be the show bought this. I've never sewn a guitar, but this is the show. So if I got rid of it, it wouldn't be.
Well, we're going to keep it. Put one of the PJ and the Beard stickers right there on the body.
You need to.
Well, I wanted to get the Harley Benton.
I got one of these.
I saw that.
If the Harley Benton, we got to see which one's better. I don't need $200 juniors, so
Your wife's not listening. You don't have to say you don't need more guitars because no matter what you hear, you never
And
have
she
too
just
much
chimed
gear.
in.
Yeah, there's
You getting rid of that, mister?
It does look cool though.
It does. Neat guitar.
And you did a little bit of work to it. I mean, that doesn't give the ghost away for the episode. You did a little bit of work on the not lowered the string height.
Tweaking, basically. It's really all I did to it was just kind of tweak it. It's all it needed. Just a little bit here and there to make it even a better playing guitar. So.
You're not going to go buy one and play instead of your Les Pauls on your next show.
probably not.
But hey, man, if I needed a guitar on the cheap, that's not a bad way to go.
Right.
Brian did say, "Hey, Jason, care to comment on how the JTM is supposed to be used? Hint, hint, fishing for compliments.
Oh yeah, because Brian, did you see? You might not have seen it. He sent it to me. He did a little. He did like a little video of the JTM and how he had it, and he had what'd you have, Brian? You had the JTM at the end, but you had some delay afterwards. Whatever he did, it had like he was playing the Strat, had a real like Pink Floyd-ish sound to it. It was cool. So the JTM for this, Chris, is this little.
Ah, see.
So it's a one knob
JTM in a box kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, great, awesome.
So it's really nice, and Brian he was the one that like kind of suggested we pick this up at the Love Pedal sale, and then
I really like that they did that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Right.
Right.
Like a
the Marshall knob on it.
Nice
Yeah,
job.
looks
touch.
nice.
Yeah.
But it sounds great, and Brian, I'm not gonna try and you're the JTM guy. He's figured it out,
Okay.
and I think you run it at the end, right?
Yeah, he's given us lots of interesting suggestions. Chris, you'll appreciate this. Brody said, my favorite pedal is a brake that says Harley Davidson on it. No knobs.
I can appreciate that.
Yes, you can.
So why we have so I don't know who all is in here because Pat's
don't know.
supposed to be in charge.
I'm looking.
But why we have, we have Chris here from Woodshed Guitar Works in Carlisle. So if you have questions out there, like kind of more guitar setup, guitar repair kind of questions, this is the guy to ask. Like if you're not sure what's going on, why we have him here, this would be a good time to throw out those kind of questions.
Before I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, it's right there, as you know.
Right.
So
Like,
Brian said
sorry.
JTM into a carbon copy, into a Hall of Fame 2, into a Sunzera 50.
Right.
With a question mark, though. I'm not sure you're the one that said it. Yeah, he said he runs it last. He runs it last in the chain.
But before your reverb and delay. Sounds like. Which would make sense. I would put reverb and delay after it. I
Yeah,
think.
I would think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it did. The thing he recorded, and I imagine if you click on his name, it would take you to his channel. You could see his little couple minutes of him just playing around with that. I thought it had a real David Gilmour kind of sound to it. It was cool. Not that
Nothing wrong
David
with that.
Gilmour is like noted because he'd be more of a high watt,
Yeah,
but
but British nonetheless.
Right, with
yeah,
the Strat.
Yeah, absolutely.
with delay and reverb and so.
British.
Well, I don't know. You said you don't want to steal the whole thunder from that, but at some point, I think someone's gonna have to play that Firefly.
Right.
At some point.
We'll get into it.
Yeah.
We'll kick it.
It
around.
won't. It won't sound like it sounded when, because with the live show we got to pull the amps back, so it
Yeah,
won't have. But
yeah.
earlier tonight when we had the amps up, it sounded great. Do you want to play it?
Well, let's see. What we can-
So Joe Harvey, while you're
You
switching
can
out
trust
here.
me holding the Les Paul for a second.
Sure.
Yeah. See you, Jason.
I'm not worried about the
Wow.
gold top. Trust me.
Bumpadinkus.
Yep.
Here comes the flash.
Let me tune up. Go
What
ahead.
do you do? So Joe, I missed part of the comment, but I think you were talking
Oh
about.
man, look at that! Look at that!
Yeah, you just
They
did
could
that.
put it-
Yeah, you should probably keep it now. If you break it, you buy it.
I'm not even strumming this thing, man. Too bad.
Joe said he put a new Graphtec XL nut. He's using 11 to 56 strings for drop B. Sanded each groove, but then, oh my gosh, get a ping on the G string. I've heard I've got to fill the groove in and sand a little less away this time. So pinch. So new nut and strings. So if he's got a little pinch.
Before you fill, try if you have the right gauged files, and we're talking about the string slots, am I right?
C.
Am I right?
C,
Okay.
you're right.
Try to maybe slightly angle your file down and follow the pitch of the headstock with it to see if you can get rid of that pinched sound before you actually try to fill and recut it. You might save yourself some work. Obviously, I wasn't there when you did it, so I'm not sure exactly like what your method was, but I find that sometimes when I'm doing work like that and I do achieve, like I hear that sound, I'd make a little bit of a adjustment in the way, the angle that I hold the file, and I can usually relieve it.
So if he's gone too far, his question is baking soda and crazy glue? Question mark. How do you build it back up?
Is it a bone nut we're talking about?
It's a Graphtec. It's a Graphtec
Graphtec.
XL.
If you could try the baking soda super glue thing, try maybe using if you have another Graphtec nut around that maybe you took out that you can use as filings, shavings, and using the same material to put back into the slot plus some of that crazy glue to let it harden quite a bit and then go back and try it. There's lots of different things you can do, but it's Graphtec, I would try to stick with the same material if you have that.
All right.
If you have the access to it.
Right. Dwight Bailey chiming in. I believe that's a new name for us as well. Welcome, Dwight. All right, so you have it plugged in? All right.
Yep.
Firefly through PV Classic 30.
Kind of a thing.
Doesn't sound like $140 to me. With a little, well, again, you don't want to steal the thunder for the entire video, but you know, Chris fixed some stuff on the frets, made some adjustments on the bone nut. Outside of that,
some tweaks, and really, again, that's about it.
Like something a little more than a regular setup, as you discussed, maybe, but not like a full blown. I'm going to drop hundreds.
Right,
of
because
dollars.
the idea behind the video was, what if you go out and spend $140 on a guitar, do you want to drop $500 into parts? I mean, some people do because they just want to fool around with changing pickups out and changing tuners out and maybe learning how to do it. But, you know, I saw it, I thought, well, cool, I don't have a junior. It'd be kind of cool to have something Junior S to play with. But I don't want to spend $300 on it. You know, it's $149.
It kind of defeats the purpose of
what can I do to make it a player? That was the question. Is it possible to make it a player within kind of some reasonable
amount of money? Absolutely.
And that's what's kind of.
Yeah, and everybody's situation is different, but yes, you know, for most people, you can make that happen for a reasonable amount of money.
Another technical question from Brian Landreth. He said, "Where do I start to track down a ground issue in the humbucker single Strat, HSS Strat? The humbucker is very noisy, but I can touch the jack plate and it goes quiet." So play with your finger on the jack plate.
Yeah, you're
Problem solved. Next question.
Yes.
Oh, ask the professional. What would you do?
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Grounds. I say this all the time. Ground will ruin your day. A bad ground will absolutely ruin your day, and you could spend a lot of time chasing it. You know, could it be anything from a bad solder joint to you know, a wire that's broken off? I would probably make sure all your connections are tight, meaning all of your pots and things like that are all tight to the body first. You know, again, not seeing this guitar, it's hard to say exactly what that situation looks like, but if it's, you know, hopefully it's not a big bowl of spaghetti with wires and you can actually get in there and do your work with a soldering iron. You know, pick a place and start, quite honestly, because it could be anything, really. So pick a place, start, you know, maybe make yourself a little checklist. Okay, I check this, check that, check this, and you know, hopefully you won't have to go too far until you find it.
So when you say start, are you like just checking joints, like redoing the joint, or?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, grab wires, pull them, test them, just to see if there's anything loose there or whatnot. You know, cold solder joints can create a problem. So if you have a solder sucker and you see a cold solder joint and it usually looks kind of like frosty, that's why they call it a cold solder joint. You know, heat that solder up, pull it out, resolder it, see if you can get a better bead there. But again, chasing a ground issue can be anywhere. So you gotta really go over almost every aspect until you find it, so you can destroy it.
That's kind of common too, because we were talking about another Les Paul earlier this week that when you turn both volumes off, you still get bleed through.
Yep.
No matter where the switch is, you can still hear a little bit. That's probably a ground, you think?
It could. That's one of the symptoms of a background. Yeah.
Right. Yep. And you said you had one that was in the shop at the same thing, so it's not like an uncommon issue that there's something.
Happen. Yeah.
So Ben Combs joined us. So Ben, you were right. That was the beard chiming in. I was in the room though. Does it count if he chimes in on my behalf? We're like a YouTube couple.
By proxy.
Yeah, that's right. So thank you, Ben, again for pointing people towards us and doing what you do and having a guitar discussion. And Chris loved your name, Connects with Guitars. Thought that was pretty clever. Hey. And then Brody put in a plug for your work, you know.
Thank you, Brody.
That you've done all kinds of things for him.
He also knows where the best barbecue places in Nashville
That's
are.
true. If you ever go to Nashville.
Yes.
Smashville.
Yes.
Well, good. Ben gave me credit for that. Hello. It's like when your wife takes a gift to a party and you take credit for it. He's out on YouTube being a good citizen, and I'm just in the back. What did we get him? Did we bring him something nice?
I wrapped it.
I look surprised every time we open a gift. Slide rule.
Talking about that, Chris is probably, if you look around the room, the amount of guitars in here that he's touched.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I know he's done.
Inappropriately.
He's going to be listed on the website. So
Oh, no, I might need to change my. You're touching paper.
this one.
Yeah, he did that.
We replaced a tuner on this at one point.
And that's a what?
Set up
It's a
some
95 custom 24.
Yep.
Brody has kind of the sister guitar of this sort of. They came out of the old factory. The serial numbers aren't too far apart. His is painted solid gold, and mine is black.
But I know you've done work on my McCarty. You've done work on the 335. You've done work on the Strat, the white Strat. You've done work on
This 339 that's down here.
the 339. Yeah,
That's over there.
yeah, the Les Paul. The like, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Most of them.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them. That's for sure.
Okay, here we go. Brian, keep the questions coming because we do have the subject matter expert, the SME here over here. Thoughts on refretting made in Mexico neck versus replacing it with a Warmoth?
Wow. How much do you love that guitar? If you love that neck, refret it. I mean, are we talking refretting it yourself, taking it someplace and having it done? Absorbing the cost of that, or just buying a neck that's fretted? I mean, that's as wide as it is long, I guess, that question.
How much is? So we gotta qualify this because not Chris's in-store prices because they'd be specific to Carlisle, but in general, an average price across the board. If you were
Even
going
across the border.
across the border,
All the
even
way to Canada.
all the way up there.
To refret versus renecking?
Well, just to refret.
Refret, I mean, 300-ish.
And then if you're going to buy a Warmoth neck, it would be
depending on the level of neck you're
$300.
ready to spend, or you're going to spend money on, you could easily achieve $300, something like that.
So it could be price wise
Excuse me.
comparable. And then of course, if you get a Warmoth neck, are you going to have to do some fret work on it?
Not that I've seen. I mean, most of the Warmoth necks that I've ever had come in front of me were,
They're not Firefly necks, is what you're trying.
Brian said, I guess in his research, the cost is about the same. Ben Combs came up with a third option: get a replacement made in Mexico neck.
you could do that too. I actually just renecked somebody's Mexican Strat with a Mexican neck that they bought. So you can do that.
Pretty much neck and neck.
Yeah. It's close.
You guys have to keep commenting because if not, you get a whole lot of that. I don't think I've missed anything in my old man.
Of course, if you've broken a neck in, like if you've played that guitar a lot and it started to break it, you might want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I own one Strat and it's a Mexican, and it's a great guitar. I don't use Strats very often. I never really had much cause to.
You had it for one purpose, right? Where you played in your
Southern
Pride band.
I was in a Southern rock band for a lot of years, and I used that guitar for literally 3 songs, and we knew well into the hundreds of different Southern rock tunes. But I was always the humbucker Les Paul guy for that band. The other guitar player, Mike, well, he was more the Strat guy. So, but there's certain songs you need a Strat tone on. You can't achieve that any other way. So. It is a great guitar, and I actually wore the frets out on it, and I haven't gotten back to refretting it yet because I haven't needed the guitar, but I will eventually just refret that neck. I already have it. Why buy another one? That's me, what I would do anyway.
But you can do that.
Yes. Right. Yeah. I have the tools.
Right.
My dad's a TV repair, and he's got an awesome set of tools.
Brian said all guitars are parts casters anyway. It's
Pretty
cheaper
much.
to build them than buy one and replace all its parts.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. That's right. I own one Telecaster. It's a parts caster.
All right. I think I'm current. If I'm not, someone can repeat their question. A little louder and a little slower, please, for those of us who are old. Next time here at my podium, I'm going to get a little light and some readers because it's getting to be that way for me.
Be like Garrison Keillor.
Yes.
I like how you had to have the improvised desk.
Do you like this
Right.
stuff?
It's like,
Well, it looks professional.
Yeah, I was hoping to have like a snack and maybe a TV dinner on here.
Maybe whiskey.
Yes, that's the cup holder.
Yep.
If they don't ask, well, I was going to say if they don't ask questions, you boys are going to play, but that would be a reason for them not to ask questions.
I don't know.
There will be a little playing coming up.
Could be questions like, why are you playing that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
Ben says, sorry if he's quiet. I'm a little talked out. I bet. Was that we only caught the tail end because we were recording other things? Did you go an hour tonight, Ben? And who was your? I didn't catch it, but who was your guest tonight? Your female compadre you had there.
So while we're waiting for Ben to respond, 2006,
12. Yeah.
Are is all the road worn on this you're doing, or was it like some of that?
I've added to it. There was a mess of it on there already, including the big dinger on the front.
That one stands up.
That I couldn't resist writing "ouch" in it. You can see that.
I never noticed that. That's great.
But that was a guitar that was owned by a guy that was coming into my shop for a while, and he didn't perform out with it. He played at home, and he put a lot of love all over that guitar, but just for playing it at home, and wanted to sell it so we can buy an amplifier. So I bought it from him, and it has been my main guitar for the band I play with now called Roadcase, and it just, I don't know, it's the right guitar for the job.
When you go down to your local guitar shop and you say, I really want a gold top, let me know if you find a gold top.
I just want to go on. This is actually an intervention now. This is Jason is gonna. This is a support group. Finish your story.
Right. And then the guy shows you the gold top he found.
He opens the case and a rainbow comes out.
Right. And I'm not even going to tell you the disgusting price that he got.
No.
Because
Let's
even
not
if
talk
he
about that.
charged me...
Double that.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I still would have been like, wow, that's a deal.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it was.
And he did. He charged me double that.
And made it a sunburst.
And made it a Honeyburst Classic.
Yep.
I don't even know where that is. Is it in the gig bag?
Is it here?
It's here.
Yeah, it's sitting over there.
Yep.
He put it in the gig bag because he knew the gold one was
Right,
coming
yeah.
over.
Every once in a while, like a dumb deal comes across.
Well, we've interviewed Chris before, and it is a cheap, shameless plug, I guess, to go find the interview. But it was kind of like, it's an occupational hazard, right? Like
it can be. Yeah.
your guitar, like in the beginning, you're trying to get the business running, and you're doing repairs, and you were consigning stuff, and maybe you had to pass up on a couple things because you just
A
didn't
lot
have
of
the
things
cash.
actually at the time.
And
yeah.
now the downside of being successful is you've got the cash, and you got to be like, hey, should I?
I'm pretty self-restrained.
Well, you
know,
are.
Yeah.
But your collection has grown exponentially.
It has. I mean, and playing it professionally as much as I have over the years. I mean, you have to buy things, so that's part of the deal too. Like,
See, you
Does that look gold?
it does if you hold it just right.
Honey's kind of gold.
It is a nice looking guitar.
That's a great looking guitar. Yeah.
It's a nice looking guitar. But it's...
Yeah, that was...
It's in far better shape than mine.
It's not a bad consolation prize.
No, I'll change it.
That's right. This whole thing?
I don't know if I would.
Does Chris have a music store or just a repair shop?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a little bit of both, but mostly repair and service.
Schaefer Brown, bedtime for me. Awesome show. See you later, Chris.
Later, bro.
Thanks for checking in. So we interviewed Chris and talked a little bit about that, and just some of the cool stuff that's come in the shop. Some things he's actually made a connection to Nashville and set some really nice guitars down there.
Yeah.
You've actually driven like halfway. Mm-hmm. Now I'm not suggesting he's going to drive halfway to anybody that's listening, but maybe for the right thing. But so that wasn't your intent. Your intent was like you worked in guitar shops for a very, very long time. Yeah. You really got adept at repairs, and our good friend's shop closed, and you're like, what's next? Well, you kind of, before it closed, you were out, and kind of decided, I'm going to repair guitars, because that's what I do.
That's what I've been doing for all these years.
And it may or may not have started in a woodshed, and that's why it's called Woodshed.
Is there any lefties watching?
I don't know.
Because I want... Is there any lefties watching? Because...
Good clarification.
I want... Somebody needs to pick up that green SG, because that thing is killer, man.
Yeah.
Was it green sparkle SG?
It's a heavy green sparkle custom shop SG, left-handed.
And it's killer.
Yeah.
It looks sweet.
It's so ugly, it's awesome.
Right. Exactly. It's like
if you're going to start a T-Rex tribute band, that's the guitar you need right there.
So Ben did say yes. He talked an hour, 2 days in a row, and that was his cousin who's in town.
Cool.
Is she also Canuck?
Maybe. I don't know. I'll wait for that answer. Excuse me. I don't know. Okay. Brian said, I'll ask anyway. How often do you have a truly exceptional guitar come through?
Well, I mean, this could be a truly exceptional guitar for the money.
Right.
So, I mean, we're talking like serious collector grade, super high end. You know what most people would consider to be like that grade. Not, I wouldn't say incredibly often, but I do see them on occasion.
Well, you had that deluxe that was like the sparkle blue.
Yes.
That was like early 70s, mid 70s.
Mid 70s.
Yeah, sparkle blue original case.
Yeah, deluxe, and they did, I believe, a red and green and blue sparkle in that era. Somebody told me it was a Sam Ash thing.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't hold me to that. I don't know if that's exactly accurate or not, but it was a special run that they did. They did limited numbers of those colors. A local Carlisle guy owned it from brand new, and was retiring, and him and his wife were selling lots of things off so they could buy a RV and just go.
That there's an RV.
Yeah, man. You know, that's the dream.
Well, you had a sweet telly not too long ago too that you drove, didn't you?
Yeah. Another, what was that? A 60. I believe it was a 68.
Oh yeah.
Thin line Telecaster. Yeah.
And there's been some Martins.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah.
Brody's.
So they come through. They do. You know.
Brody's confirming your. I heard the same thing about the Sam Ash LP.
Yes.
Thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
you know, I mean, I don't keep a large inventory. If I did, maybe I'd be deeper into the game when it comes to that kind of thing. I try to keep it, you know, manageable for myself. I feel like if I have a bunch of stuff in the store that I'm like, oh, I'm pressured to sell, and I'm more interested in making sure I do my repair work than having to be a salesman all the time. So I keep it pretty limited. Really amazing things come through the door. Lots of garden variety things come through the door most of the time. It's usually what you find in most shops too. The inventory there is all pre-owned. I don't do anything new.
Even if someone begs you to get something.
Even if they, I just try to keep it. You know, I feel like I can keep it interesting when it's an all used inventory. You know, that said, if we lived in another area that, you know, let's just use Nashville for instance, that, you know, there was that many, you know, musicians there at one time, which we don't really have that around. We have a lot, but we don't have that many.
Right.
Then maybe I would go deeper that way, but you know, we're not there. So
Well, and I think the thing a lot of people probably don't think about is every time somebody comes in, is like, can you get that guitar down and plug it into that amp and plug this pedal? You're pulled away from doing the repair work.
Yeah.
Which is where, you know, that's the majority of the business. But you keep, like, it seems like a good bit of stuff that comes through the door, like, hey, will you buy this? And you buy it off people. But then every once in a while, it seems like you do go out and search things out.
yeah, when I was traveling a little bit more with the band I had been with, when we get out of the area, so I would, you know, jump on Craigslist in the area that we're going to be playing in, and okay, I'm here. I'll make sure I bring my buying power with me, and if I see something that I know that would sell well in the shop, or something that somebody asked me to keep an eye out for, I'll grab it, bring it back, and then I've got it in the inventory for somebody to buy. So I can, you know, I'm not doing as much of that these days. Don't know if I will anymore. I mean, traveling for music. But, you know, if I get out of the area, I do try to look around. You know, we live in a pretty cool area where we can get just about anywhere within a few hours.
New York, Baltimore,
Philadelphia, Pittsburgh,
Washington, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It's
so
all within
we're pretty well situated.
Yeah. We're in the center of the universe. Just ask us.
It's a geographical holiday. 2 weeks from anywhere. So yeah, I mean, I have no problem going out and finding something if I have the time to do it, and if somebody has a really serious interest in me and wanting me to do that for them.
Or you'll take some stuff down to, like, the Philly Guitar Show and trade some stuff.
Yeah, on occasion. Which, you know, speaking of that, like the Philly Guitar Show, it seems to be, you know, I don't want to say dying. That's the wrong word to say.
Shrinking.
It's shrinking a bit. So,
I went for the first time I think I told you.
Yeah.
In November. Brody and I used to go twice a year.
Yeah.
Almost every one. And when I rolled into this one, I was like, where's the rest of the show?
Yeah. It certainly is a lot smaller than it used to be. So I don't know what that means, really.
Right.
However, you know, it's if you have an interesting, even if you just want to go down and walk around and walk the aisles and look at all the guitars, get down there, check it out. Try to keep that thing alive.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I hadn't been for years, and my wife is. We created this channel because our wives are sick of us hearing us talk about gear, but yet my wife agreed to go to a guitar show with me, And 5 minutes in, I run into Paul Reed Smith. So I'm like, well, it's still alive in the sense that he's here. And look, it's him. One of my third times I've stalked him. But yeah, no, it's interesting. It was much smaller. But with that, though, I know. Trust me. I mean,
I parked next to Paul in the parking lot once.
You told me that.
Cool, yeah.
I got to be careful because I think Brent Mason still has a restraining order against me. John Bollinger maybe too. I don't know. I think I might freak John out.
You're on a list somewhere.
Exactly. Kind of like Elaine from Seinfeld. I'm on a list. That's for sure.
That was Brent Mason where you're like, here, get a picture of us. He's like, do you want? I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I probably should have, but you know. Stalker.
Brody said there's a guitar show in Franklin, Tennessee.
There is.
It's great. Come on.
Yep.
He'll get you some.
There's one out in Pittsburgh, I believe.
Yeah, it's coming up, I think.
Yeah.
I haven't been to that one, and I think I have a commitment that day. But yeah, I haven't been to that one. I love going to them. They're great. I mean, you meet some interesting people. You see some great eye candy. Then you, like Brody and I, wouldn't buy stuff often, but we'd have fun walking the show together.
Yeah.
Be like, what was your deal of the day? Like, what was the thing that was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it? Or what was the thing that was like the craziest thing? Like, Martin had like a $250,000 guitar there one year, like that you could play. Mm-hmm. You pick up and play it. So you have those moments.
We're also going to do that.
Yeah. Right, exactly. So they're interesting shows. So like, yeah, if you're listening in and there's one near you and you've never been to one.
And guitars are great, man. I mean, they're all shapes and sizes and different, price points and different pickups and different things all over the place. So that's a really great place to go see as much as you can possibly see in one place under one roof. So I mean, why not? And support it as much as you can. Support all these things.
And the hot tip is go on the last day because they don't want to take stuff home. Or if you're a dealer, go on the first night and swap with everybody.
Usually that's dealer night.
I've never been to the Friday night party show, but I've been to the Sunday party.
Yep, absolutely.
You gotta make him pick up the one. And
so how are we doing on?
The questions are slowed down. But I'm looking. I'm doing my job.
Do you want to switch back?
Yeah, he does. I mean, he did wonderful work and made that very.
Your gold top's behind you.
yeah, that's right. I think you should play these.
It looks. Honey.
I think you should play the Ugly Stepsister along with him.
It is light. Give me 1 second here.
It has, the one thing that, I changed the pickups in it, put the Thornbuckers in, because it had those like really hot, I don't know, you might know what they are.
The original stock pickups?
Yeah.
There's like a 500T in the bridge and a 498, I believe, in the neck.
So I put the Thornbuckers in, which are pretty cool. I'm still struggling with the volume knob a little bit, though. Chris is so tired of hearing me talk about the volume knob.
It's satisfying.
Well, there is. Like, if you can hit a chord or a note and do this, I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
Do you hear a bump, or did you just start?
It's a nice even taper.
Right there at the bottom.
A little bit.
There's no jump. You can't do that.
Let's see. Hang on.
There's a dead spot.
Try one more time.
Real quick though, because you said this has become your number one
for this current situation with the
and it was modified before you got it, but
yes.
You have a way of like the way that you like them.
Yes.
And so
yes.
Tell them what pick you said is a 59.
I like Duncan pickups. I mean, there are a lot of wonderful, really high-end pickup companies out there in the world, and they all make really great stuff. But I've always gravitated towards Seymour Duncan. It's an affordable way to go. They make a great pickup. I always like the 59s. I'm sorry, the JB in the bridge and a 59 in the neck. JBs are super hot. But for the type of stuff I play now, which is more of a hard rock, not metal, but hard rock and some blues, heavier blues, this is a great pickup. And I pair it up with an orange AD30 that I just absolutely fell in love with as soon as I heard the darn thing. But it gets the job done. This had a set of Duncan P rails in it, and all four of these knobs were push and pulls and all kinds of crazy switching options. Great, but not what I need.
And then you prefer Grovers if it comes with the vintage style. You switch them out.
I prefer a Grover set of tuners. I did put a bow nut on this one as soon as I got it as well. Put a set of orange drop caps in it to go with my pickup set, and it does exactly what I need it to do. It's always there.
So that's an example of someone who got a guitar, and made it the way they want it, which is fine, right? Like
which is what we all do.
Yeah,
to a degree.
and you didn't over improve it. It's not like you've over improved a house in the wrong neighborhood.
Yeah,
you'll
exactly.
still be fine because I know a
got
potential
it
buyer.
for?
I know a potential buyer right here. I'm gonna run an auction at the end if you're ready.
For what he got it for, he didn't over improve it.
I'm gonna ask one technical question because I don't know how long this magical jam might go.
Right.
So Brian Landreth, tech question: in order to get rid of the strat hump when doing a level and recrown, was I wrong to wrap a few layers of tape around the 11th fret to give it some fall away? He said from the 12th to the 22nd fret.
Was he wrong to do that?
Yeah.
I mean, how did it come out? That's the question.
What's
for
he
you.
talking about? What did he do?
He said it's like a hump. Like, is that something really common in strats?
It's known to happen, absolutely. Yeah. I don't see it that often, but I have seen it.
So you wrap tape?
Yes.
So we wrap a few layers of tape around the 11th fret to give it some fall away.
Yep.
So
I'm just interested to see how it turned out. Like,
right.
What does he say
What
about
do you
that?
mean wrap tape around the 11th fret?
Literally.
And then put the over top of the fret?
Yeah.
to make it higher, so when you're trying to level it, nothing.
Oh, okay. So while you're leveling,
Yeah.
I'm picturing.
Can't answer yet.
I'm picturing Brian played this guitar with tape wrapped around
Right,
it.
yeah,
Trying to figure out.
And he had the JTM last in the chain, and he always has the tremolo on. I can't keep up with this guy.
But the tape is where the tone
And I
comes from.
scalloped the 13th fret. Just the 13th.
Did it come back in?
Yeah. No, so here's what we're going to do. Instead of the actual Jeopardy theme, wait, just play something.
What time is
It is time for me to get some glasses. It is 10:15.
it? Okay.
So just enough time for Freebird. Play some Skinner. Dude.
Yeah, no one.
Yeah. All right. Oh, wait. Yeah. Go. Do it.
Ending.
Is that the abrupt end?
Or Paula Abdul.
I always feel like when you get at that kind of volume, though, you just want more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When you hit that note, when you're up here and you're like,
Yep.
there's just like, where is it? Like, I wanted to.
It's these mics and that interface don't like it much louder than that. That's
Right, I know. I'm not even sure they like it that loud, but I'll tell you, it's like the guys that I totally get it. I understand all the arguments, the Kemper, the in-ears, the Line 6, the Helix. I get it all, but man, there just cannot be that moment with a tube amp behind you because you hear with the back of your knees
or your ankles. Yeah.
Like I want that tone that when I lean back, it holds me up. I want to hit the note. I want to lean back, and I want it to hold me there.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
you can't recreate that with a bunch of digital modelings. I shouldn't say because we'll get hate mail, but
As Randy used to say, lift and separate. That's how you know you got it. It's lifting and separating.
So lots of positive comments on your boys playing, and for a good reason. Two of my favorite players that happen to be friends of mine. And then Gary Tholander chiming in. I'm not familiar with that name, so welcome.
He was here last Monday.
Nice to see you again.
And I've seen him in a couple chats. Yeah,
we should have a guest book at the front door, Jason, when people come in.
He was. Gary was one talking about last week whether running effects in the effects loop versus putting them in front. And I think that was last week with us, but I know it was in another chat, Gary, that you were talking about that. And I think you got good advice. The advice was if you're doing time-based like delays and reverbs, put those in the effects loops if you're using a dirty channel on an amp. So like I run delay reverb in front of my amp, but I'm going into a clean amp. If you're going into a dirty channel, you gotta hit the...
You probably should. Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't... If you're saturating the preamp before, it just doesn't...
Yeah. You're not getting the full effect, if you will.
I have to laugh because Brody is the self-proclaimed least pedal guy on the planet, but I think
I'm
he
probably
was
next
the
in
one.
line behind that. Yeah.
He was the one that gave me the best pedal advice ever. He's like, put your delay through the loop, and it changed my life.
But you use dirty channel.
Sometimes, but even if I push it from the front with something else, I still like. I think it opens it up. It just sounds different to me in there, and I think the demo, like the thing we did at once, maybe was even with an EQ pedal, like. You know, put it in front and then stick it in the loop. Not that I run an EQ pedal, but like you could hear the difference. And so I think I could be giving Brody credit for advice he didn't give, but I'm pretty sure he was the one that told me that.
Gary, as a Thurlander, said that he just didn't want to have to run all the cables, and I am totally with him. I've never used the effects loop because that, except for the permanent rig that doesn't move, the Leslie is going through the effects loop, but I never have to tear it down and set it up, so it's all right. It's cool.
So,
agree with that.
Brian Landers complimenting other players. Gary complimenting your playing. Brody. Ben Combs.
Thank you.
Let's see. Where'd Brody's comment go? It's so funny. Oh, if you guys were more fluid, you'd be leaking. So you guys are right. We're trying to keep this a family show, I think.
You can't see under my stool.
We had WD-30 out or 40 out earlier. 30, 40, whatever it takes.
We're slipping his line.
Exactly.
It's time for me to take a drink.
Yeah, that's right.
Right on.
I thought I missed a comment here. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I often don't know what I'm doing. It's part of my charm.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we've missed anything that you've said that we should have commented on,
Send it to us.
if we haven't welcomed you, if we've somehow messed up in the live stream etiquette that's required of us, it's because Pat is in charge of the comment feed tonight.
I even made him give me a music stand, but I can't.
There was that comment of like, take some lessons. We missed it.
That's right. Did your mom pay for guitar lessons? What'd you do with the money? Let's see. I think that is, well, for now, unless I spread more comments there. Yeah. So we're not ending right at the moment, but I just want.
I think we're close.
We're close.
I think we're definitely creeping up on it.
You spent enough time on that. Oh no! Here's what I missed. I missed something very important. Hey. Brian Landreth, being the kind soul he is, he asked how your wife was doing.
Yeah, I think she's been getting better.
Yeah, what was the surgery again?
So, for a couple reasons, medical, like to open airways and for bone and jaw and things. They wanted to reset her jaws.
Ooh.
So they broke her jaw here, and then to break her up, she kept telling me before the surgery, hey, they're going to break my jaw under my nose. I'm a biology teacher. I should have like a mental image of what this looks like. And until I saw, breaking your jaw under your nose means cutting the entire way across your jaw. And then moving those where they want them. There's screws and stuff holding this. I don't know what they did up here, but she has like a plate. She has rubber banded her mouth together. She's drinking through a syringe and a straw. Like everything she eats has to go through this little tube that she can run back the side of her mouth.
Liquid chicken.
Yeah, it's and then like to top it off, she woke up this morning and her back was like killing her. She's like her back. But she's been doing great. Like she's the most awesome woman in the world because I'm thinking if a doctor told me tomorrow you have to do what she just did, I'd be like,
no, they're
there's no way.
Women are tougher than men. Period.
Right. So I've been doing like nursing duty and trying to help her out. And I think my nursing skills are on point, but
I know the outfit is for sure.
Every time I get frustrated, I just look at her, and I'm like, "Yeah, you really can't be frustrated because, like,
yeah, you're not going through that."
Yeah, I'm not.
Well, I saw her yesterday. I mean, I for the first time after the surgery, I saw your picture. Like the worst set of chipmunk cheeks after any oral surgery had nothing on this, right? But I saw her yesterday. She looked great.
Right.
She looked really good.
Still a little bit black eye. Still has some stitches. She's doing great.
Crazy. Well, wish her all the best.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we probably rocked her to sleep.
Yeah.
It was rumored that we rocked her to sleep one night. The bed was like vibrating like The Exorcist, 3 floors up.
The Rats Pedal episode at the end when we had it wound up. My gosh. The text message. I put the text at the end of the video.
Can I share this? No. Screenshot sticking on the end of the video.
I left out the first thing she said, though. I cut out.
You did cut that out.
Cut that out.
It is PG-13.
Right. Yes. I cut that out.
It's the meds we're lacking thereof.
Blame it on the meds.
Yeah, exactly. Either way.
But Brian, thank you for asking. She's doing
Yeah.
great. I mean, like, great, as well as it can be expected when you're eating from a syringe, but I can't wait till she can eat again so we can have a meal together.
I actually went out to dinner with Jason and his son yesterday because he's trying to be kind and won't eat in the house. So before we recorded, I went out to eat with them.
I mean, now think about, like, that doesn't sound like a bad thing, right? I mean, you never eat at home, but you can't, like, by yourself go sit down. So you, like, limit. You could, but I mean, I can't, like, go to Carrabba's or the Moonlight Cafe for anybody local and sit down by myself and eat a $50. I mean, I guess I could.
I do it. Yeah.
Call me. I need somebody to
That's
go
right.
eat.
That's right. Yeah.
An acceptable dinner date.
Yep.
For the next 6 to 8 weeks, I'm available for dinner. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. Yeah, it's
There's
terrible.
no hosses, yeah.
Sounds terrific. I don't know. So we don't even know. I can tell you, I don't even know what we're doing coming up. You'll have to.
So,
Gotta stay tuned.
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, I mean, there's some cool stuff. Swindler Effects, we've been talking to him because we did the tremolo pedal. We have a chorus pedal coming from him.
I love when I made a accurate but negative comment, and the pedal creator happened to stumble across our channel, saw the comment, agreed with the comment, let him send the pedal back, he modded it, sent it back.
Send it back.
Yeah,
Wow.
and now there's a bit of a conversation going that.
So we have another
out
one
with a new
coming.
pedal that.
Well, this one's been out, but we have one and then there's a switcher coming out that maybe we'll get into. But so we have that one coming. And I think there's some other. Oh, we have the Cyndi Lauper pedal.
Yes, time after time. That's what it's called. It's called time after
I
time.
was hoping it was going to be called Girls Want to Have Fun.
Well, you come over, we'll have fun, girl.
What are they going to have that pedal?
Let that hair down.
Yeah. Yes.
This, make him stop. My gosh. Yeah, there's a it's a delay pedal.
Yes.
I forget who makes it, but time after time. I know that one's coming.
No.
There's an overdrive pedal you picked up.
Decibel 11.
There's an overdrive pedal you picked up
Yeah.
from Rockworks.
Rockworks back there.
So and then we have some people we need to get together with.
Mike Morrison.
Yes, we did. We got him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you're getting together.
Well,
with
no,
him.
we need to go to the studio.
Yes.
That's one that we need to
Yeah, yeah.
set
Oh
up.
yeah.
That's right.
Lots of people in the area that you guys should go visit, take field trips to. So.
Right.
Exactly.
All the free time.
Yes. All that thing called free time.
Yes.
What is that?
All right. Is there anything else?
I'm looking at no, not that I can see.
That's worth. I can't read a thing.
Worth addressing?
Yeah, sorry.
So if there's nothing else worth addressing,
Yes.
Are we signing
but
off?
fun. Yeah, I mean we're out of here, I guess. But thanks to Chris for stopping by.
Yeah.
Again, Woodshed Guitar Works in Carlisle. He does have a website out there. You have a reverb page when you get some of those like kind of cool things that maybe aren't real local market. You put them up there.
Yeah. There's not a ton of stuff on there all the time, but there is a page up, so keep an eye on it. You never know.
Right.
But Facebook and Instagram, you pretty much post whenever you get
Yes.
something in. Like
Yeah,
you posted 2 acoustic guitars today, I think.
Yeah. Put up a Taylor. Put up a Takamine.
Yeah.
Got a Fender American Vintage Series Blackstrap that I'm going to be putting up in a couple of days. I got a little bit of work I want to do to it, but that'll be up soon. Pretty nice guitar. So.
And he does. Shit.
And is there a
I do
potential of like a kind of crazy one coming up? Is that still in the, without naming what it is? Is that still a possibility?
Which one? Without naming what it is. Hit me in.
3 pickups.
No, well, not yet. That unfortunately that deal didn't work out this morning, but we'll see.
Okay.
It might.
So
We'll see in the future.
Stuff to look forward
Yeah.
to.
Unfortunately, when that guy bought that guitar, he bought it under an unfortunate false premise. So he thought he had something he didn't have. Unfortunately.
Oh.
And yeah, it was had to kind of break the news to him this morning about that. So he might hang on to it for a little while longer, considering. But that's
Okay.
So when Brody called you Dr. DellaPorta earlier, you were Dr. DellaPorta. I have some bad news.
Yes.
For you. Have a seat.
Yes, the priest is here. We're
Yes,
talking
that's
about. Yeah. So just buyers always beware. Do your research before you spend big money.
That's one of the things we probably should have talked about before we got out of here. And
Make
I
an
took
episode
the
out of
time, but I was in your shop a couple weeks ago when I was dropping off the Firefly. I'm dropping this off. This guy walks in, puts down this beautiful Gibson Les Paul. Had like the anniversary plate in the back.
Yeah, on the switch
I mean,
cabinet, yeah.
everything about this thing looked like a beautiful. Well, would it have been like a standard or
Yeah.
everything about it looked great. Totally fake.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% Chibson.
Chips. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy knew it too.
Yeah, he bought it on that. He knew that.
He knew that, but I mean,
But
like,
sitting there looking at this thing and flipping it around, going, "Oh man, like really?" Yeah.
it's
So I'm going to say bye to Ben real quick because Ben's peacing out. Thank you, Ben, for being a good friend of the show and pointing people this way. So I'm interested in this, like what you just said. Like, what was your first, like...
There's a lot of telltale. I mean, if you know what you're looking at, you know what I mean.
Was it the Adam's apple? You're like, Adam's
Well, yeah, that's
a man,
Yeah,
baby.
that's a man. The logo, the way the logo is positioned on the headstock, the size of the logo on the headstock. If you flip it over and you look at the back of the neck, and there is a joint anywhere between the headstock and neck, or down here at the heel,
Right.
that's a major red flag. Looking at the hardware, you can kind of tell. I mean, like if you've seen enough like American Gibson stuff in the hardware that they use, if you see offshore built, it's definitely different. And there's lots of different features that make them different. So look at things like that.
neck joint's a good one because that's an easy one for people to pick up.
Oh yeah. That's a
Like
big
I never
giveaway.
thought about that.
Yeah, that's a big giveaway.
Because they would have a solid piece of wood for their neck on
Yes.
a Gibson. So
Yes,
if you see a
typically
neck
it's-
joint,
with the exception of up
With
here
the
on the top
wings,
of the
right?
headstock,
Yeah.
the wings and the headstock,
Yeah.
this is one piece.
but you're talking like a scarf joint.
It would not
like
be a scarf joint, yeah.
What would be on like a PRS, not the SE line, the line. It's not the
C.
core.
No, okay.
Not the core guitars. What's the one that What's the one that you're thinking about
The S2?
buying?
Yes.
Yeah, the S2 series.
Yep.
Like the S2 series have the scarf joint up in the top. That's one of the ways they do them in the US, but bring the price down.
Yeah, and it's not a bad thing. It's just it's not typical to a Gibson.
It's
So,
not a Gibson.
Yeah, if
You're
you're
not
buying
playing-
what you think is a Gibson, take a good look at it.
You're not playing authentic at that point.
No, not really.
And they're scary good. I mean, it was scary like.
Yeah, to the layman's eye, absolutely, you would have been buying a Gibson, and then you might have taken it somewhere to get something done to it,
Right.
and that unfortunately would be a heartbreaking piece of news to hear. Another one is the serial number, the way it's impressed into the headstock. Like with Gibson, it's pressed in, and then they shoot the finish over top of it, and sometimes it kind of fills in those numbers, and it always looks a little like, okay, I can't really quite read it. On a lot of the Gibson ones that I've seen, it's like it's in there, and it's almost like filled in with some white to make it pop even more, and that's not a typical Gibson thing. It's not. You know what I mean?
I think Ben left, but I think Ben had a Gibson has a Gibson Les Paul.
I have another guy that knew what he was buying. He bought a Gibson Firebird 7, so the 3 pickup version of it. And I wish I own a Firebird 5, and I wish I would have had it there to comparatively show him, because he was like, it's exact. I'm like, no, this body's gigantic. Like, the body was way bigger than what it should be. So I think I'm going to take mine in and take a picture of just to show the side-by-side comparison. I'll send it to you guys then. But the body is grossly oversized. It is
on the Firebird.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a white 3 pickup Firebird, and it looks almost a little ridiculous, cartoonish, because it's so big,
like a pterodactyl.
Yeah, and the neck almost looks too small for it because the body's so big. So, again, he knew what he was buying. It wasn't like anybody pulled the wool over his eyes. He liked the look of the guitar. He's happy with it, so that's all that matters. But
right. I think Joe was answering your comment about Ben on Ben's behalf. Says he does, and it's white. It does in white of some sort of chips.
I mean, this.
That's why it's.
This. I mean, for all practical purposes.
We found out tonight that was not a Gibson.
Right. I mean, for all practical purposes, it's a Gibson. Right. Yeah. It's a Chinese-built guitar modeled after something Gibson would do. They've changed the carve a little bit here.
Put a contour.
Right. But the thing. One of the differences to me is you don't look at this and go, that's a Gibson. You look at it and go, that's a Gibson-esque guitar made by Firefly. That guitar you look at and go, that's a Gibson.
It says Gibson on the guitar. It says Gibson on the back plate. It says Gibson on the case.
It even had like that little medallion, like like that's there's. Yeah. I'm not gonna call it good or bad. I mean, I don't want to fall into. I don't want to fall into finding my gold top and then having it be that. Yeah. Which I don't think I'm ever going to own a gold top now, because
you never know.
He's going to play it long enough to authenticate it.
No. There's another Gibson potentially in my future.
There's one out there with your name on it.
It's fun. I say hopefully, but it's like hopefully there's not another Gibson in my future. But, yeah.
It is funny.
We'll dive into that thing.
Well, it's funny because I was with Brody at Carter's in Nashville, right? And they had the Eric Johnson Strat, the whole thing. I'm like, sweet. And I played it, and I hated it. And I was both disappointed and happy at the same time, right? Yeah. Like, check that off the list. Don't need that, because I'm like, it's got to be great. Of course, it's Eric Johnson, right? And I played it. Brody played it first, and I strummed a couple times through. I'm like, no, not for me.
Yeah,
and sometimes that happens.
Yeah, so that's
I've had a love-hate relationship with SGs most of my life, most of my guitar playing life, and I love Gibsons, but that's one guitar I just never really could make friends. I have one, and I use it on occasion for like sitting around playing slide on, because it's a great slide guitar. Mm-hmm. Can't go wrong with that. But it's not one that I'm normally going to take out and play at a show. This is wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I know what these are going to do. How
the whole rabbit trail I went down with that one when I got sidetracked was it kind of replaced another one that was very similar. You had changed out the same types of appointments that you like, and somehow this one just like
they're different, man.
Beat the rest of them
out.
Yeah,
I mean, I've got a few Les Pauls, and they're all very different from one another. The one you're referring to is a '98 standard that I have with a plain top honeyburst finish on it, and it's a phenomenal guitar. And it was my main guitar for my last remaining years of smoking guns, which would have been probably the last 4 or 5 years. And that guitar went everywhere with me, and it was the one that I reached for all the time, and it did everything I needed to do. But if I take it into this world that I'm playing now with the band that I'm with now with Roadcase, it's not the same. This one just does it, and it's...
So maybe the next iteration of a band, this won't be doing it anymore. Right. Then...
We'll go for it. All right, I'm not that hard up for Les Paul.
You don't want a gold top. I mean, you want a gold top. It's fine.
Right.
We all want what we want.
Someday.
I want sprinkles on my ice cream. What can I say?
I mean, that's what's my ice cream.
I think
we are between you and a few drinks with a very good friend that we've interviewed, so we should be respectful of your time about an hour ago. But yeah,
this is what it's so you're like, what do we do on the live show? We sit and we just have a conversation, either with us or with any questions that are being asked.
Right.
So with that, I think.
Yeah. With that, I mean,
we haven't ever asked. If you're watching live show, hit the like button. That would be nice. Sure. Ben's really good at encouraging people to do that. We care, I guess. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, that would be really nice.
Or at least hit the notification. If you haven't rang the bell, you subscribed, you forgot to ring the bell. Go ring the bell.
More importantly, go check out Woodshed Guitar Works
do that.
Website. Follow that on Facebook so you can see the cool stuff he posts.
Make sure you follow these guys.
Look on Instagram too. There might be a really cute picture of me and Chris. Just saying. All right. With that, I almost. Oh, whatever. All right. So I'm PJ on behalf of everyone to my right. I think the devil's on the left side, by the way.
Yeah.
Reminding you, no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear.
You want to play
something
way?
while he's got to walk over.
I got to walk over there and hit the button to sign off. So, you got anything in your left?
Yeah.